In this module, we're going to review the information that the DGS has available on its website regarding cemetery records. The DGS has been spending literally years. Volunteers have been spending countless hours going through cemetery records and entering into a database information about the Dallas area cemeteries. In fact, if you keep an eye on the web page and go down here and look at the bottom, you'll notice that we periodically will post updates as we add more information into the database. The main gateway to view the information is to go up to the Resources tab, click on it, and then from there come over to the Resources menu and click on Cemeteries. And this page will show you a list of all of the cemeteries that we have information for. And you can click on any one of these links and you'll see a great deal more information. So let's do that. Let's go take a look at the Daniel family. And you can see that on this page it's dealing specifically with the Daniel family cemetery. We would tell you location both in kind of a normal mailing type street address, as well as we will try to provide a maps co-reference and GPS references, and then any additional information that we might have about the cemetery. In some cases it's not always obvious, particularly for some of these older ones, where the entrance is, so we'll frequently have a map showing how to get into the cemetery. For larger cemeteries we'll often have maps showing where the various sections are, and we try to provide some kind of a history and some background about the cemetery itself. Now all that's very helpful, but we've got a lot more. Our members, as I mentioned, have been painstakingly going through burial records and actually walking the cemeteries and looking at tombstones and recording information, and have entered into a database thousands. We're above 30,000 records so far about all of the cemeteries in the Dallas area. And so from any cemetery's website you can just click on the search database link and that will take you over to the interface where you can then search these database records. Now you notice when I came over here that the name of the cemetery is already populated in the cemetery field. You can specify a name if you're looking for it, specify a cemetery section, or key in on some of the other search things we have, particularly military service. But I'm just going to do a general search and look at all of the records for the Daniel Cemetery by clicking the search button. And what the system has done is gone and retrieved all, in this case 137 records about the burials that we have recorded for the Daniel Cemetery. And so we have information about the type of stone that it's marked with, the name of the person that is buried, the date they were born and the date they died, and information about where in the cemetery their grave is. In addition, we have this view button which will allow you to view additional information that we might have about the cemetery: the spouse's name, funeral home, lot owner, and any other information that we might have about it. Now from all of the pages you can go back to the previous page by clicking on the back button, and that's preferable to using your browser's arrow button because that tends to confuse the interface a bit. On this particular page too, we also have the ability for you to comment on this record. Now the type of comments we're looking for are things that can be documented. We're not looking for anecdotal stuff about picnics you've had at the cemetery, with your grandparents or what have you, although that is kind of interesting information. But the data that we have is factual and traceable to documents that we have researched, and so that's unfortunately the only kind of information that's displayed in the database that we can accept. So if you feel we have a date wrong or we have a name wrong or something like that, what we need to have is a reference to an official document that would allow us to go back and modify the information. Unfortunately, we can't just take your word for it because we are kind of a records factual base organization. And of course when you come here you can select any of the other cemeteries and specify additional information and do additional searches. Now one thing I'd like to point out while we're here is something that I have loaded and I'm utilizing in my browser, which is Chrome. And that's the subject of the next video, which is talking about taking advantage of a special feature that Chrome provides that allows it to read something known as microdata that we have encoded in our database. And as I said, that's the subject of an additional video.